Russian attacks are intensifying in eastern Ukraine as they continue to heavily shell the area in anticipation for a new ground offensive. This, as Russian television says, World War III has already begun in reaction to the sinking of the Russian destroyer Moscow in the Baltic Sea. Joining me now to discuss the latest on the war is retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General David Deptula. General, good to see you.
Good to see you, Tom.
New this morning, General, Ukraine is claiming that Russia has now lost more than 20,000 soldiers since the start of the conflict. The Ukrainians have also now destroyed the flagship of the Russian fleet. May 9th is right around the corner. That's Victory Day in Russia. What do you think that we will see next from Putin? Because he's got to give his population something to help keep this thing going.
Yeah, Tom, it's a good point. It's very difficult, though, to anticipate what Putin will do next. So far, all of his efforts have resulted in failure. We know that he's building up forces in the east and that a new offensive is about to get set. All of that is a great reason why the United States and the NATO allies need to be providing the Ukraine the kind of equipment that matters in helping the Ukrainians offset any Russian advantage or offensive. And that's imperative that we do that.
General, Russia is issuing a formal diplomatic notice to the United States. They sent a cable this week warning that the American military aid is adding fuel to the war and prolonging the conflict. The Ukrainians, for their part, they're concerned about false flag attacks. What does an escalation, and because Moscow's threatening an escalation at this point between chemical, nuclear, whatever, but what does that escalation look like, do you think, most probably?
Well, again, I mean, with respect to this latest so-called diplomatic message calling on the U.S. and its allies to stop assisting Ukraine, consider the absurdity of that message. The Russians invaded Ukraine without any provocation. They're wantonly targeting innocent men, women, and children, with to date now over 75 hospitals and nearly 200 schools attacked. They're under investigation for war crimes and crimes against humanity. They're not in any position to tell us not to help repel their egregious and inhumane acts of aggression. So in terms of escalation, quite frankly, it's not unanticipated that this kind of rhetoric will continue to go on. But it's hollow rhetoric. And what I'd tell you is, unfortunately, since Russia invaded Ukraine, Putin's rhetoric has done more to deter action by the U.S. leadership to assist Ukraine than the U.S. leadership has done to deter Putin from his atrocious, brutal assaults. And their latest message is just another effort to deter us from helping Ukraine. And frankly, it ought to be answered with the announcement that the U.S. will begin training Ukrainian pilots on the F-16s and F-15s that their Air Force pilots seek.
So in terms of kind of practical steps for Putin, though, do you think that Moldova, which most analysts believe that he could just sort of waltz into because they don't really have much of a military or offensive weapons, do you think that is a likely target to give Putin sort of a discernible win here over the next month?
It would be a bit of a stretch. If you take a look at where Moldova is located, Putin and his military has had a real difficult time with logistics. And as professionals understand, logistics is the key to success in warfare.
Right.
So that would only complicate the situation that he finds himself in. I think you're more likely to see continued efforts in eastern Ukraine because of the proximity of the Russian territory and the ease in which, or the relative ease in which, he could resupply his forces there.
All right. We're going to unfortunately have to leave it there. Next time we have you on, I want to talk about China starting to move into Europe with those Serbian, with the arming of the Serbians there. I think that's big news, and that's going to be a pressing, continuing issue for us. General David Deptula, thank you so much for being with us, sir.
You bet, Tom.